Boyfriend cheated after lying for months, so I'm taking our dog, erasing my presence, and disappearing from his life. I'm 27 and my boyfriend is 29. We've been together for 7 years. Until this morning, I thought our relationship was solid. He's been traveling back to our home state more and more often this year, visiting about once a month. He always told me it was because his grandparents were getting old and missed him, and I never questioned it. I trusted him completely. But early this morning, everything shattered. Out of nowhere, a mutual friend sent me a screenshot of my boyfriend's Snapchat location. I stared at my screen, confused. The map showed he was at his parents' house, which made sense, but there was a girl's Bitmoji there too. It wasn't his mom or his sister, and his parents, who, strangely, also have Snapchat, were out of town. He hadn't mentioned plans to see anyone else today. A flare of worry shot through me, so I dialed his number. No answer. I checked Snapchat again. His location had suddenly gone dark. That's when my friend told me the truth. My boyfriend had been telling everyone back home we'd broken up 4 months ago. He'd sworn our friend to silence while he found the right time to tell me. According to my friend, as far as my boyfriend's parents know, he's planning to move home as soon as our lease is up. What finally forced my friend to tell me the truth was what he'd seen that very morning. He'd walked in on my boyfriend hooking up with that girl. My mind was spinning. Desperate for something to make sense, I texted an old friend from my hometown. Her reply stunned me. She immediately asked why my boyfriend was on Tinder. She sent me screenshots. There he was, his profile full of photos I'd taken, including an old picture of us together where he'd actually covered my face. His Tinder bio read, "This could be you." Seeing those pictures, so many of them of us together, made everything sharper and more painful. How did I never see this coming? We'd gone to Italy just last month to celebrate our 7-year anniversary. 7 years, wiped away like it was nothing. The apartment around me suddenly felt like a stage set, every memory poisoned. While I tried to breathe through the numb shock, I got a text from him. He was on his flight back. He'll be landing in about 5 hours. He can figure out his own ride back. There's nothing left for us to talk about. My best friend dropped everything and came over as soon as I called. She's here now, helping me pack up my clothes. I'm not leaving a single trace of myself behind when I walk out that door. Our dog is coming with me, he's mine. My friend's place will be home for now. Money won't be a problem, our joint bank account is nearly empty, and I make more than he does. He can keep whatever's left, our accounts have always been mostly separate anyway. The one thing I can't do until tomorrow is go to the leasing office. It's closed on Sundays, but I've already emailed them about an early lease termination. We're registered as domestic partners, so I filled out the termination form and tomorrow I'll drive it to the LA County office to make it official. I also emailed HR at work to get him off my health insurance immediately. There's just one thing tripping me up. We have boxes of photo albums together, all those years and trips and laughter frozen in time. Keeping them feels impossible, but giving them to him would be just as bad. He's already twisted our memories into something hideous, using them to lure someone else. I keep asking myself if there's anything I've missed, but every thought is jumbled and jagged. Nothing about my life makes sense right now. All I know is that I can't stay. Update 1. It's been an unbelievably hectic 18 hours for me, and I've only managed to get through it, thanks to an amazing group of friends supporting me every step of the way. Sleep? Forget it. There was just too much happening. Even before he landed, I'd already blocked him. While I was busy packing up my life, my phone blew up with texts and calls from his parents and his sister, though I ignored it all at first. Eventually, when I saw his sister calling again, I decided to pick up. The call started off aggressively. She accused me, without a hint of irony, of being some obsessed ex-girlfriend who couldn't let her brother go. Kind of hilarious, considering I was the one boxing up my things and leaving everything behind. She scolded me, saying it had been 4 months and I needed to move on. I finally explained to her the truth. My ex never once approached me about breaking up. Just a month ago, we'd celebrated our 7-year anniversary and even started planning our wedding. There'd been no warning, no clue he wanted to end things. That seemed to hit her, and she finally let me tell my side. I explained that yes, he'd been distant this year, but he always blamed it on wanting to spend time with their aging grandparents before they passed away. That's when she dropped the bomb. Their grandparents have been dead for 2 years. I never once met them because my ex always claimed they hated me, since the grandfather was some Vietnam War vet and super racist toward Southeast Asians like me. Apparently, it's pretty hard to be racist when you're already 6 feet under. We ended our call on a surprisingly positive note. She admitted she had a lot to process. She also confessed she felt terrible, because the woman my ex was cheating with? One of her own friends. She'd introduced them last year when my ex complained about issues in our relationship. They hit it off, and he was supposed to break things with me then. Clearly, he never grew the spine for that. She was just as shocked to hear he was active on Tinder, even while supposedly dating her friend. After we hung up, I sent her all my Tinder receipts, screenshots, everything. Later that night, my ex sent me an email. To sum it up, yes, he wanted me to come back to the apartment to talk things out. No, he didn't apologize for a damn thing. And he signed off with "I love you." I don't think he has a clue where I am now, nor does he know where my friend lives, since she just moved. Besides, he never struck me as the kind of guy to go tracking people down, but honestly, turns out I didn't know him half as well as I thought. All the same, we've got locks ready and a baseball bat by the door, just in case. Having the chance to spill everything that's happened, really lay it all out, has been unexpectedly therapeutic for me. And the support and advice I've received have helped me find the strength to get out. Truthfully, there were moments when I just wanted to stop packing, collapse on the bed, and hope that when he came home, things would somehow return to normal and the texts were just some bizarre mistake. But that encouragement, that's what pushed me to follow through and leave. I know nothing good would have come from staying. And if you were wondering about the timeline, let me clarify, his parents and sister called about 2 hours after he landed. I can only guess it's because he came home, realized the person responsible for half his rent was gone, and started panicking to his family. It probably didn't help that I left dog poop in a picture frame. That may have pushed him over the edge. When I was packing, I absolutely raided the kitchen. I took maybe $300 worth of spices, oils, sauces, all the essentials. It felt damn good. If he ever complained about celery salt or Worcestershire sauce, I made sure those were absolutely the only things left behind. Because screw that guy. The dried rosemary? I left it, he hates that flavor, and that made it even sweeter. Changing all the passwords is a priority, on everything. I did everything I could to tie up loose ends and leave nothing behind. Most of it was knocking out emails, changing account info, making appointments, online stuff, really. Physically moving everything out only took a few hours, especially with 3 friends helping me clear out a tiny 500 square feet apartment. Setting up the prank with the poop? 10 minutes tops. I maybe slept an hour the entire night, if that, just catching a quick nap while my friend drove back from the county office. For anyone who ever wondered why I hardly knew his grandparents, let me explain. Honestly, we were no contact with his family for the first 5 years of our relationship. The last 2 years, there was a sort of reconciliation, which I guess lines up with when his grandparents actually died. Beyond that, there were 2 main reasons for keeping the distance itself, and their outright racism. We're both from the same Midwest hometown, but his family stayed there while mine moved to SoCal, where we live now. Getting to his parents' house meant a 7-hour airport ordeal plus a 2-hour drive. But even more, his family never made me feel welcome, old, white, and openly racist to my face. They'd mispronounce my name, toss slurs around as jokes, and sometimes act like I didn't even speak English. The last dinner I shared with them, their big running joke was that I must be a CCP agent seducing their son for secrets. I wasn't laughing. We have each other's phone numbers for emergencies, but there's zero reason I'd ever be reaching out just to chat. Update 2. I woke up after maybe 20 more minutes of sleep and decided to keep my promises to myself. First stop was the leasing office right when they opened. Carmen, the manager, already had my email pulled up and, to my surprise, a printed copy of an email from him with the subject line illegal tenant behavior. According to him, I'd absconded with community property and sabotaged the residence. According to Carmen, he called the emergency line at 1:17 a.m. demanding a welfare check because someone broke into his apartment and rearranged the condiments. I signed a form removing myself as a party on the lease if he could requalify solo or find a replacement tenant. If he can't, it converts to month and they'll start showing the place. Carmen told me point blank she has zero interest in mediating his relationship drama and that he's lucky we don't charge a stupidity fee. I slid both sets of keys across her desk and walked out with a release letter pending his requalification. The Wi-Fi? In my name. I shut it off in the parking lot, because if he wants to run multiple girlfriends off a hotspot, that's between him and his data plan. Next was the county office. A board clerk stamped my termination paperwork so hard the whole counter shook. She asked if I wanted a certified copy for your records. Yes, 2. I emailed one to HR from the hallway. 10 minutes later, they replied, qualifying life event accepted, coverage change effective immediately. I did not expect that speed. I wasn't trying to be vindictive, just done. Still, when an email from him hit my inbox an hour later with the subject line urgent, "Are you serious?" and a paragraph about being denied at urgent care for a rash I'm not going to think about, I didn't feel bad. Actions have consequences, including paying for your own oatmeal lotion treatments. The vet was my favorite stop. The tech at the front desk had a French braid and the energy of a woman who could dismantle a man with just her eyebrows. Microchip, transferred, license, updated under my new address. Emergency contacts, changed to my best friend and her wife. I asked, casually, what happens if someone tries to report the dog stolen? She looked at the adoption contract with my name on it and said, he can call the moon. He's not walking out of here with your dog. On my way out, my dog peed on the rubber foot mat and then wagged his tail at me like he just pulled off a caper. My heart finally unclenched a notch. I also made a short stop at the police station, not to file anything criminal, but to create a paper trail. Civil standby note, property division, dog ownership, just a quick report with a number that lives in a system somewhere so if he tries anything, there's a breadcrumb that says I didn't wake up and decide to steal my own life. And then my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. It was her. The girl. Her voice was small and hoarse like she'd cried herself out. She told me she'd spent the morning on the floor of her shower because my screenshots finally pushed through the fog. She thought he'd broken up with me months ago. He told her I was clingy, unstable, violent, pick a trope. She apologized. I didn't comfort her, but I didn't spit nails either. I asked if she knew he was also on Tinder. The silence stretched so long I thought the call dropped. Then she said, very quietly, that he matched with her cousin last week. She sent me her own screenshots, the same pictures, the same bio. This could be you. He was copy-pasting his life. She added something I didn't expect. He'd asked her for money. Small amounts, here and there, Uber rides, bar tabs, a plane ticket he swore his employer would reimburse. She Venmo'd him because she thought he was moving in with her in August and she wanted to be a team. While we were on the phone, she forwarded me the requests. 32 transactions, totaling $1,148.97. He's blocked her now, but she put in disputes with her bank. I thanked her for the clarity and hung up. A minute later, a man DM'd me on Instagram, her boyfriend. Yes, she also had a boyfriend. He'd seen my story post about the dog and recognized the couch in one of my old photos as the same couch in a selfie she sent him from my ex's apartment. He was calm in that way that makes you worry for drywall. We traded timelines and then left each other to burn our own piles down. Somewhere between the county office and the vet, his sister started a group chat with me, her parents, and him. She sent one message, tell the truth. A bubble popped up. Then vanished. Then popped up again. His mom finally wrote, you told us she moved out in March. His dad chimed in with, stop embarrassing us. Then the sister dropped my compilation, a neat little carousel of Tinder screenshots, his Tinder location at a bar in their town the night of our anniversary, the Odessa filter, black and white selfie he took in our bathroom 2 weeks ago with a caption I would not let my mother read. It was like a gallery opening no one wanted to attend. He left the chat. His mother texted me separately and said she was sorry about the misunderstandings. I stared at the word misunderstandings for a long time and finally put my phone face down like it was something sticky. When I got back to my friend's place, the dog passed out on the couch like he'd been the one doing all the paperwork. I forwarded my release letter to utilities and killed the gas and electric on my account, effective tonight. I also set up mail forwarding. On a pettier note, I logged into the thermostat app and scheduled a permanent eco mode. He can fight the air if he wants. I'm done fighting a person who lies about the dead. At 3:40 p.m., building security called me. There'd been an incident. He came home with a duffel bag and a fresh bouquet, red roses wrapped in plastic with water beads. He tried my key first, then remembered. He pressed his ear against the door like he could hear the life he lost breathing on the other side. He sat down in the hallway and just stayed there for 10 minutes. Then he started knocking. A neighbor opened their door, took one look, and closed it. He eventually went downstairs and argued with Carmen in the office about me illegally terminating. She pointed at the posted quiet hours sign, which is a feral power move at 3:40 p.m., and told him he could review his options after he requalified and provided proof of income. He told her he works remote. She told him we don't provide Wi-Fi. He stormed out carrying the roses. Security sent me a grainy still from the camera because he had, in an act of Shakespearean rage, kicked the big ficus in the lobby. The ficus one. I'd been cringing about the photo albums. I ended up keeping a few, the ones where I'm with friends or my family, snapshot pieces of me he had no right to paint. The rest, I took to a print shop that does shredding. The guy at the counter asked if I wanted them destroyed in front of me. He fed one in so I could see the blades take it. It made a soft, steady noise like rain. I cried for approximately 15 seconds, blew my nose into a napkin that said live, laugh, love because the universe has a sense of humor, and then walked out lighter. He doesn't get to keep our history as a prop table. I don't either. By early evening, another email from him. The subject line, this is childish. He accused me of weaponizing bureaucracy and turning my family against me. He wrote that he was concerned about the dog's emotional stability and open to discussing visitation. He ended with, again, I love you. No apology. I didn't respond. My best friend's wife baked a lasagna the size of a suitcase and we ate it sitting on the floor while the dog snored with his face smushed into my thigh. Every time I glanced at my phone, something new had bubbled up. A fraud alert ping confirming my credit freeze was active, an email from HR with a PDF of my coverage change, a text from an unknown number that turned out to be his coworker who had, somehow, already heard everything and wanted to make sure I was safe because he'd been weirdly intense with a new intern. That one, I deleted without replying. My life is not a chain letter. When it got dark, I went to take the dog out. On the way back in, a car I didn't recognize pulled to the curb and idled. My stomach dropped until a woman I do recognize, his sister, stepped out. She asked if she could hug me. I hesitated, then nodded. She put a small cardboard box in my hands. It was my Tupperware, and 2 mugs I'd left at their house 2 years ago, plus a little framed Polaroid of me and her at a county fair, hair stuck to our temples, grinning with pink tongues from cotton candy. She said she found them in their garage where her mom stores holiday decor. She also gave me a folded piece of notebook paper. Inside was a list of names and numbers, his friends, the girl's boyfriend, their cousin, anyone who might try to triangulate my address through her. She'd cut them off. She told me her friend, the girl, was moving back in with her own parents tonight. She said she was sorry for introducing chaos into my life. I told her I'm sorry she had to find out her brother is a spineless disaster. We stood in the pool of a streetlight and let the bugs hit us and then she left. I keep thinking there's a shoe left to drop, but maybe the shoes already dropped and I just didn't hear them over the paper shredder. I've got a storage unit key on my ring now and a dog with my name on his chip. I slept with my shoes by the bed and my phone on Do Not Disturb and still woke up before dawn, because my body doesn't trust peace yet. That's okay. I made coffee with my stolen beans, sprinkled a little celery salt over my eggs like a crown, and watched the sky go from black to bruised to blue. Today, I'm taking my laptop and the dog to a park with a view of downtown. He can send all the emails he wants. He lost the right to my attention the moment he decided to live a second life inside the first. I'm building mine back up, one petty little triumph, one actual quiet moment at a time. Update 3. I took my laptop and the dog to the park like I promised myself. The air tasted like a metal straw and eucalyptus, all of downtown smudged in the distance. He did that thing where he sat with his front paws carefully crossed like an old man on a porch. I opened my email and then my phone dinged with a sound I didn't recognize. AirTag found moving with you. I froze. I don't own an AirTag. The notification kept pulsing like a heartbeat. I walked us to a picnic table under a jacaranda and turned my tote bag inside out. Chewed pen, receipts, dog treats, a rogue bobby pin, another rogue bobby pin, nothing. I checked the dog. Collar, harness, nothing tucked in the seams. My stomach was trying to climb into my throat. I ripped open his soft-sided travel bag, the one we've used for every vet in flight. There was a double layer in the lining I'd never noticed, a seam that didn't quite match. I worried it apart with my fingernail and felt plastic. A smooth white coin slid into my palm, no bigger than a quarter. I had the absurd thought that I should take a picture for scale with a banana. I stuck the thing in an empty Altoids tin and called the non-emergency line. At the station, the same clerk who stamped my county forms yesterday looked bored until I put the tin on the counter. She went and got an officer who knew exactly what to do. He scanned it, got a serial number, explained only Apple with a warrant could connect it to an account. He used the phrase pattern consistent with stalking in a way that was both clinical and oddly reassuring. He added it to my existing report, took a statement, asked if I wanted to file for a protective order. I heard myself say yes like the word was a chair I was finally ready to sit in. 2 floors up at the courthouse, I filled out boxes that asked for dates and facts and not, unfortunately, for creative insults. A judge in a black cardigan granted a temporary restraining order so fast I almost cried again. Hearing date in 3 weeks. Service by sheriff scheduled for first available. When I stepped back outside clutching a packet thick enough to be a novel draft, the noon sun made everything look like a set, too bright and fake. The dog sneezed at a pigeon and the world snapped back into okay. While I was walking to the car, animal control called. Someone had reported a stolen dog. I laughed a little too hard and then stopped laughing because the voicemail was very serious. The officer who showed up to my friend's place was also very serious until the dog leaned against his shin like a doorstop inside. He scanned the chip, compared it to the adoption contract with my name on it, and asked if I'd like him to note frivolous report in the file. Yes, officer, I would. He scratched the dog's ear and told me to have a better afternoon than my ex was about to have. Carmen called me from the office about a half hour later. 2 things, she said, the way someone says 2 limes when they've been sent back to the grocery store twice. He tried to add an occupant without requalifying. He was informed that's not how leases work. Also, our ficus has a damage report and the charge has been posted to his ledger. We itemized it as assault on lobby plant, she said, deadpan. I heard the click of her mouse. Also, you returned the only garage fob on the account. Want me to deactivate it? I said yes and immediately pictured him pulling into the gate and hitting the clicker and nothing happening, the red light winking at him like a parent who's onto your tricks. At 3:12 p.m., my phone lit up with an email from a sheriff's office address, service attempt scheduled for this evening. At 3:40 p.m., because apparently that is my curse time now, the front desk at my office building called my extension even though I'm working remote. Do you know a man named, his full name? The guard asked, careful. He was downstairs asking for me. He said he was retrieving his dog. The guard had my note on file, the picture I'd sent that morning, and the new TRO number I'd added in big, bossy numbers. He told him to leave. He lingered. Building security walked him to the sidewalk like a gentle escort out of a museum. I put my head on the table and started laughing like something was leaking out of me. I forgot to mention, the parking gate. Somewhere between the AirTag and the courthouse, life decided to throw me a little cartoon justice. His sister texted me a photo at 5:06 p.m. of his car parked crooked in front of their parents' house, hibiscus bush in the background, a bright orange ticket slapped under the wiper. Code from the garage, she wrote. He says it's persecution. Mom says it's consequences. A minute later, another text, sheriff just knocked. I didn't breathe until the next bubble, served. Then, he's calling it a misunderstanding. Then, he says that word a lot. The vet tech with the eyebrow power left me a voicemail that made me want to send her flowers. He had come in to update the records since we're co-parents. She asked him to wait, walked into the back, and then came out with a printout of the adoption paperwork and a card that said, in dotted serif font, "It is our policy not to discuss patient information with unauthorized persons." He asked to speak to a manager. She told him she was the manager. He left without making eye contact with the dog posted on the adoption wall like a mugshot for cuteness. She ended the message with, "We put a note on your file. Call me if you feel unsafe." I saved that voicemail in 3 places. By early evening, the sheriff's office emailed me the proof of service. His name in black ink next to a line that said personally served. My hands shook so hard holding my phone that I had to set it on the counter and look at it like it might bite me. A new email from him rolled in at the same time. The subject line was, "This escalation is insane." He wrote that he felt tracked and harassed, which is rich from a man whose idea of romance apparently involves GP-ing a dog. He attempted a compromise. Perhaps I'd consider weekly check-ins with the dog over FaceTime so he could maintain an emotional bond. I closed my laptop like I was tucking it into bed. I did one small, deliciously petty thing because the universe keeps sending me opportunities and it feels rude not to take them. Our garage space is paid through my old account. I called the third-party company and ended the contract. The rep said the slot would be relisted tomorrow. Somewhere, a college kid in cutoffs will thank me when they pull into a spot that used to hold a Liar's Corolla. I hope they blast something with too much bass. The girl called again. Not to rehash, she was packing. She'd found a second air tag in her car tucked under the felt of the trunk liner, buried like a coin you throw in a fountain and hope no one fishes out. She said the sound it made when she triggered it, an insect whine, gave her a headache that felt like grief. I told her about my Altoids tin. We weren't friends and we weren't enemies. We were 2 people who'd been living in a funhouse where the mirrors were painted to look like windows. Before we hung up, she said, "Thank you for ruining my morning." Then, after a beat, I mean that in a good way, the mail forwarding kicked in and brought me a catalog addressed to him from a Tux rental place we toured together, which feels like a joke written by a god with timing issues. I put it in the bin with pizza boxes and a champagne cork we popped the night we signed the lease, now just a hollow little circle that used to be something celebratory. When it finally got quiet, the dog did a little circle at my feet and flopped so hard his ears did a V. I set my shoes by the door again even though I'm not going anywhere. I don't trust peace yet, but it's starting to feel less like a trick and more like a muscle I'll rebuild. I brushed my teeth with the cinnamon toothpaste he hates, charged my phone because I like control over at least one thing, and slept like someone had unplugged me and plugged me back in. In the morning, I made toast and didn't burn it. A tiny luxury. The TV played a cooking show where a judge said, "This dish shows restraint," and I laughed into my coffee. He can call the moon if he wants. The moon doesn't pick up for people like him anymore. I'm not picking up either. My dog's chip is in my name. My file has numbers on it. My mailbox knows where to find me. The life he tried to edit me out of now has footnotes and stamps and official seals, and none of them include him. Update 4. I woke up thinking today might be the first boring one. It held steady for 6 minutes. At 8:06 a.m., the front desk at my office building called my cell. "There's a man here to serve you," the guard said, like a weather report. I wasn't there, but process servers don't care about vibes. I authorized them to accept on my behalf because I'm not interested in playing hide and seek with paperwork. When I swung by later, the guard slid a manila envelope across the counter and said, "Sotto voce," he asked if your dog was here. The look I gave him must have been feral because he cleared his throat and added, "We showed him the TRO again." Inside was small claims paperwork with his name stamped at the top and a grocery list of grievances underneath. He wrote I stole the dog. He wrote I stole the saffron. He wrote I stole heritage cookware, which, unless he considers a dented aluminum pan from Target an heirloom, is a fun new take on the word heritage. He valued the dog at $3,500, the saffron at $800. Did he think it's measured in NFTs? And his pain and suffering at TBD. He handwrote TBD. I laughed in the lobby like I was at a matinee. I went up to Civil and asked a clerk if I could appear remotely because I have a TRO and a life I'm rebuilding. She skimmed, stamped, and circled a line that said accommodations granted. Zoom link pending. She admired my packet thickness the way you admire a pastry case and told me my adoption contract was her favorite part. Judges love original paperwork, she said. I walked out grateful for every boring person who knows where to put a stamp. At 10:17 a.m., the sheriff's office called to say they'd reviewed his post-service email and the office visit yesterday and considered both violations. I forwarded the building's incident report and my proof of service email and watched the little paper airplane on my screen shoot off like a cartoon. "We'll attempt contact today," the deputy said. "If he's at an address you know, it helps." He was at an address I know, his parents. I passed it along with a nod to the ficus. While all that was spinning, Carmen called. "You have a talent for timing things 5 minutes before I do," she said. He'd submitted pay stubs that made no sense, 2 different fonts, the wrong payroll cycle, a decimal in a place that decimals don't go. Their screening company flagged it so fast it left skid marks. "We've issued a cure or quit," she said, pragmatic. And just so you know, he tried to add a second occupant as an emotional support human. I told her I'd send her a thank you plant, and she said if I picked another ficus, we could save on shipping and just move the lobby one closer to the window. Then, because she is a gift, she said, also, a small package came addressed to you. Looked like a cookbook? I set it aside. I thought about my grandmother's sesame cookie recipe book and felt the first warm thing of the morning that wasn't coffee. The girl called around lunch. Not to rehash. She said she found a notes app on an old iPad of his he left at her place. It was signed into his iCloud because he apparently cannot let a device go unsynced. It was a script. Openers. Follow-ups. You deserve better. I'm not like other guys. My ex is abusing my health insurance. He had a bullet point that said if asked about dog, allergic, which is especially rich because I have a video of him in Rome baby talking the dog in front of a gelato shop like a man possessed. She read a line aloud. Love bombing isn't manipulation if you mean it. We went very quiet for a second and then she said, I'm taking a break from dating and maybe men. I told her my dog approves. Animal Control emailed back to confirm they added frivolous claim to the file and, per my request, flagged any future reports by his name for supervisor review. The subject line was case noted. I want to embroider those words on a pillow. At 2:51 p.m., I did a very unfun thing and a very smart thing. I met with an advocate at a local community center and enrolled in Safe at Home. It's California's address confidentiality program for people being stalked. You get a state-run P.O. box that forwards your mail and becomes your legal address on public records. The advocate had a gentle voice and nails like little oil paintings. She slid a laminated card across the table that looks like a library card but is really a state-issued invisibility cloak. Use this for DMV, voter registration, everything, she said. I walked out into the bright heat feeling like I put on sunscreen for the first time in a year. At 3:40 p.m., because of course, the deputy called. We're here, he said over a chorus of barking dogs. Front yard chaos. His sister texted at the same time. They pulled up. Then, he's saying misunderstanding. Then, they're putting him in the car. I stared at those three bubbles like they were a new language. The deputy came back on and said calmly, he's under arrest for violating the protective order. He said it like the weather again. I said, thank you so many times. He chuckled and told me to take a deep breath. I took 3. 5 minutes later, his mom texted me this has gotten out of hand. I let the message sit in the blue glow of my screen until it timed out and then I deleted the thread. Out of what hand? Out of whose hand? I picked up the dog and kissed the spot between his eyes and realized I was shaking the way a set shakes when you bump the wrong wall. I swung by the building to pick up my cookbook. Carmen had tucked it in a drawer like a librarian guarding a rare map. On the way out, the security guard who sent me the ficus footage earlier raised an eyebrow and said, I didn't know saffron came in that many zeros. I told him apparently it does if you think you're pricing a yacht. He laughed into his sleeve. Also, he added, your thermostat change is stuck. He came down to complain it's haunting him. I smiled in a way that probably looked unhinged and told him some ghosts are energy efficient. At home, my friend's home, my dog's nap zone, my safe at home mailing address, I opened the cookbook. Tucked inside was a Polaroid of my grandmother pinching off dough with 3 fingers, her pinky in the air like a dare. The page with the sesame cookies had oil stains and a phone number in the margin I haven't called in years. I made the dough and chilled it while I answered a very polite email from court scheduling my small claims appearance and attaching a PDF titled Remote Hearing Etiquette. No pets on camera, it warned. I looked at my dog's face pressed like a ham against the sofa cushion and decided we'd cross that bridge when we got to it. Right before dinner, the vet tech with the eyebrow superpowers left another message. He'd tried again, this time to update microchip info because his lawyer said he has a right to 50%. She said the word lawyer like a question mark. She told me she added a new note, require photo ID and court order for any changes. Also, we put his account on cash only hold, she said. He likes to dispute. I am going to get that woman a fruit basket so big it will need its own seatbelt. For the first time in days, the evening didn't throb with adrenaline. I took the dog out and he found the one patch of grass that smells like everything that's ever happened to a dog. Back inside, I got an automated jail notification email at 7:22 p.m. Arraignment tomorrow, charge listed, location. Bureaucracy tucking me in. This is where I tell you I cried again, less dramatic, more like you would cry watching someone else get the prize in a game show you didn't apply to. Relief is a weird shape. I baked cookies with my grandmother in the room even though she's not in the room. I ate one warm and thought about a life where the most complicated thing is timing 2 trays at once. My friend's wife took one, bit in, and said, this tastes like a new apartment. The dog snored like a little motorboat and thumped his tail against my foot. I set my shoes by the door out of habit and then moved them to the closet on purpose. He can sue me for saffron and call my piece childish and request FaceTime visitation for a dog who is currently dreaming so hard his paws twitch. He can stand on a sidewalk and call it a misunderstanding until the word means nothing. Meanwhile, I have a case number, a laminated card, a lease release, a vet file that reads like a fortress, and a cookie that tastes like a beginning.